she said some things that, so some woman, Annette Flowers, you don't have an upline. So I went through and went all the way up to the 5-star above you, and you have some great upline above you. One of them is me. And there's a woman named Michelle Van Etten, and you've got a really, really cool upline. So whatever you do, you got to find me. I'll hook you up with Michelle. But everybody, there's not one person here that's alone, but there's a lot of people here that don't, just flat out don't like their upline. Me. And no, me meaning you don't like me, not me not liking my upline. But I also, Rebecca is such a classic example because she's not in Paul Croto's organization. She's in the Elevate group, and she's in Cheryl's organization. She's in the Elevate group. But how she got here was she came in through Ben Fuchs, who I can't spell pharmacist and he can't spell multi-level marketing. Above him, he's got 3 different radio people. He's got Michael Zwirling, he's got Ted, he's got all those people. So she was pretty much at a place where so many of us are, where we're standing there going, I'm not getting what I need. But rather than making that an excuse, she made what she did a reason. This pandemic can be an excuse for everybody, or it can be an opportunity for all of us too. And it's just how you posture that. And so she went out and, she went and sought out Cheryl Morley, many, many levels. That Deneen did the same thing, sought her out. And Cheryl understands completely this business. And Cheryl Morley knows she works for Paul and I and all million of us, but she takes it very seriously. And there was an event this weekend that was really, really important for Cheryl to go to. And she literally called me on the phone and said, do you think it would be okay if I went and did that event versus this one? And I am telling you, that took so much integrity. It was frightening. And so much class, because she knew, being me and Denise being on her top line, how important this event is. And she knew her event was important, but she didn't play some game. She didn't say, I'm your upline, I'll do whatever the heck I want. She called on the phone and said that to me. And then she said, please tell me how Becca did. Please tell me how all these people did, because that's how much integrity Cheryl's got, and she's teaching that to everybody in her group. So I just want you guys to know that. But no matter, you're going to find a reason to check out. You're going to find a reason to check out. Personality, how to fight 10 years ago, whatever the hell you want to call it. Whatever it was, don't talk nicely to me. Whatever it might be that you've got that you're letting yourself check out because you want to, that's your choice. You get to choose that. Or you can choose nothing's going to stop me. And when that choice comes along, you're going to realize this business is principles over personalities, just like Alcoholics Anonymous. And you're going to knock down doors to get to where you need to go. And so that's what I want you to do. There's a guy out there, next guy, finally a man. His name is Robert Gonzalez, and he is an adorable human being. And I've had the honor of being around this guy all over the United States because he speaks English and Spanish so well that Luis Ariaza always feels terrible when I go to Spartan events because I don't speak Spanish. And I'll sit in there for 8 or 9 hours listening to Spanish speakers. And finally, Luis noticed that I was there supporting, even though I didn't understand a word. So he would actually turn me over to Robert to have Robert be my personal translator, because Robert can translate on the fly like nobody you ever met in your life. And he's such a great guy. His son is incredible. His wife, everything about this guy is great. Plus the fact he's a 5-star from Las Vegas, Nevada. So with that, here we go. We got Robert Gonzalez. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Is it time for the 80s dance party? I'm ready. I've got my favorite Depeche Mode song queued up.
There you go. Fire it up, baby.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Denise. Good morning to all the awesome speakers, the guest speakers. You guys are phenomenal. Good morning to the Longevity Nation. Good morning to all the Dr. Wallach soldiers out there. I feel blessed. I want to say thank you. All the speakers have been phenomenal. I really agree with everything that they've said up until Fred. Basically, how I mentioned uplines, we are definitely blessed with the best uplines. Me, myself, my wife, we have Nelly and Jaime Ornelas, phenomenal. Carmen Osuna, phenomenal. Luis Arriaza, super phenomenal. We've got Corey Gold. Much love out to Corey Gold, to our mentor Corey Gold. I hope he's doing better. And of course, the incomparable Tom Chenault. We're super, super blessed with all the love that you give us. And you know what? I really want to be. I want to be transparent. This is the time of the Super Saturday where we're going to keep it real, because that's how us guys have to do. We have to keep it real. So, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself. My name is Robert Gonzalez. I'm 47 years old, originally from San Francisco, California. Married for 20 years to my beautiful, beautiful wife, Claudia. We've been blessed with 3 beautiful children. Robert Jr., who I nicknamed the Thinker, he's 19. Yelba, the comedian, who's 17. And Alexander, the musician, who's 12. And, basically, my wife and I, we became 5-star as soon as we saw what the products could do, as soon as we saw the economic freedom it can give us, as soon as we saw the leadership and the mentorship that's available here for free. Other companies charge for everything. I love the fact that here we get all this awesome information for free. And the reason I believe that my wife and I have made it this far, we've found out about longevity about 7 years ago. We started doing the business about 5 years ago. And the reason why I think we've lasted is because we're both resilient, very resilient. And I really love that word. That word resilient is very, very important, because, people who aren't resilient don't make it in network marketing. The people who are successful because they are resilient. And, in my life, I've had a lot of situations and a lot of people that have made me resilient. And this is where the keeping it real part comes. I want to share with you a little bit about, about my background and the things that have made me resilient, because, unfortunately, I wasn't born super tall like Theo Ratliff, over 6 feet. I wasn't born a genius like Dr. Wallach. I didn't have a high IQ. I don't have a high IQ like Dr. Wallach. I don't have a high EQ like Tom Chenault, emotional quota, with all that charisma. I might not be the best leader like Dr. Lewis or Steve Wallach, but I am resilient. That's one thing that I do know about myself. The first person that taught me resilience was my father. And, before I tell you what I'm about to tell you, I want to, preface this by telling you my dad had a really, really rough life. He was dealt a really bad hand. His mom died when he was 5 years old. He basically grew up on the streets, and, he was never taught love. So he never showed us love, unfortunately. And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this can relate to that, unfortunately. But, my dad, he was an alcoholic. And you know a lot about that, Tom. My dad basically, the worst thing wasn't that he was an alcoholic. The worst thing is that he owned 2 bars.
Oh, boy.
So you can imagine all of the stories that I have to tell. But the one memory that really stands out, that really, exemplifies my childhood, is I remember when I was 8 years old, my dad was really drunk, and he sat me down on his knee. And here I thought I was going to have finally a moment of love between my father and I. And he proceeded to tell me that that basically I came into this world without his blessing, and that basically that I was an accident. And that makes you, takes a big impacts you really, 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 really hard. But what a resilient person does is, now for every one of those times that I didn't get an I love you from my father growing up, I give my kids that I love you. That's what resilient people do. When I was 18, my parents divorced. That made me very resilient. We went to court, divorce court, and I actually represented my mom. And I'm very, very lucky that my dad did not bring a lawyer with him, because I basically beat him in court and kept the family business. So at 18, I was basically facing my dad in court, and I'm happy to say that I stood up for my family and beat him in court. That made me very resilient. 1996, we had a drive-by shooting at our house. I've never been gang affiliated. We were having just a regular get together, and the wrong crowd walked in, thought they were mistaken, and they thought they were at a different party. Long story short, they got upset that we kicked them out. They came back, shot up our house. In the process, my mother was shot in the leg. My cousin was shot. that was very, very tough. That made me very, very, very resilient. 2000, things started looking up. Remember Y2K, the big Y2K scare? Everybody thought it was the end of the world. Well, that was when the opposite happened for me. That was the beginning of my world. Because in the year 2000, God gave me my beautiful wife, Claudia, made me a father for the first time, and I had signed papers for my first restaurant at 26 years of age. And, I was very, very blessed, and everything went well. In 2002, we had our daughter, Yelba. 2005 was another resilient year. That was a year that taught me a lot. 2005, our restaurant burned after having insurance, fire insurance for the majority of the time that we owned it. Got distracted, didn't pay the fire insurance, and we lost everything overnight. Yes, everything. At the same time, my daughter was diagnosed with chronic urinary tract infections. Basically for 9 years, I watched her suffer, taking, antibiotics, listening to the doctors. Her situation got only worse and worse and worse. By the time she was 12 years old, she was wearing adult Depends diapers. I was spending over $300 a month just in adult Depends diapers. Life was not fun. I felt like a bad father. I felt like a bad husband. I felt like if I couldn't do anything, I felt helpless. I couldn't help my baby girl. And the only thing that you want as a parent is for your kids to have a better life than you, and to watch your daughters suffer, and you can't do anything about it. Man, that's the worst thing that can happen to a parent, I believe. But luckily, 7 years ago approximately, God placed Dr. Luis Ariaza, who we connected with on YouTube, one of his videos that he was promoting out there, and and everything changed from there. Dr. Wallach with his system, we were able to recover our daughter's health in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Dr. Wallach and his system, and including Dr. Lewis, because the detox was phenomenal in ending her UTIs. And I'm telling you, what the MDs could not do in 9 years, this system, including the liver detox, did in 2 weeks. And I'm the happiest father on the planet because of a promise that I made to God. I took this seriously. I've been willing to translate for Dr. Wallach, for do whatever I have to do, in order to pitch in, to help out any way I could. But what I will tell you is, change is a part of life. That's inevitable. But resiliency is the ability to adapt to those changes quickly. These changes occur through negative experiences in life. And the bottom line is, because your beliefs impact your feelings impact your thoughts. And then your thoughts impact your actions and your reactions. And that's why our mindset is very, very, very important. We need to have our mindset, because things can get so bad that we can end up believing in an irrational hope. That's when basically when you believe something, but deep down inside, you really don't even believe that things are going to work out. But you have to, because that's what really resilient people do. We have to believe that today is going to be better than yesterday, that tomorrow is going to be better than today. So the question is, how do we become more resilient? Well, in order to become more resilient, we have to use the number one tool that we own, which is our minds. Trauma teaches, because with proper perspective and positive attitude, we have power. Magically, we have power, and we all know that life is always easier when we prepare. But just because you can't plan for everything doesn't mean that you can't be ready for something. Like my mentor always says, Dr. Lewis says, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So if you prepare yourself, for this negativity that's gonna be thrown at you, and prepare yourself to be resilient. When people say no, hey, that's how you grow. Bottom line is, we need partnership and perseverance. When I say partnership, that means we must be willing to ask others for help. Ego does not make you money in this business. That's one thing that I've learned. And another thing we have to do is we have to refuse, to be a victim. I mean, it's okay. We can acknowledge that in the past we were victims, but we can't own being a victim. You know, we have to put that behind us, because once you talk about it in the past sense, then you know what? It gives you power, you know, because by using the past tense, you know, it's not in your everyday consciousness, and everything happens for a reason. And resilient people give our trauma a purpose. And I know, for example, our restaurant, when the restaurant burned without insurance, oh my God, I felt like I had a big L tattooed on my forehead. I felt like the biggest loser. I felt like I'd never come back. But you know what? God has a purpose. The way I look at it is life is like a road, and the vehicle is our body. That's our vessel. The problem is that we believe, our ego makes us believe that we are at the wheel, that we're driving the vehicle. But the truth is we're not. The truth is God, the creator, whatever you call him, he is driving the vehicle. The sooner we realize that and we're sit shotgun and just enjoy the view, the sooner we're going to live a better life. You know, wise man once said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, because he's got his own plans for you and for me. And our plans, the plans that he has for us is to prosper, especially right now. Like Tom says, a lot of people see peril, they see, fear, they see with this Corona thing. And I'll tell you, I see the opposite. I see opportunity. I see all those people that used to say no to health. I see them running to the store and clearing out the vitamin shelves. All those people, every time you try to share the comp plan or the business opportunity, and all those people would talk about, they cut you off. They say, wait a second, I've been at my job for 20 plus years. I'm never going to leave my job for this. Come on. Those people, there's more than 30 million Americans out of work. So we have the solution. We have the solution for health freedom. We have the solution for money freedom. And we have the solution for time freedom. And I'm telling you, I'd share this for free. Even if I didn't get paid a dime, my conscience would force me to share this with everybody that I ran into. But you know what? Getting paid with the best comp plan on the market, doesn't hurt. I'll take the money because I have a lot of responsibilities like everybody else. We have kids to feed. So, but the great thing is that we have an opportunity right now to help people and to serve. And if you're not serving, you're not living. And one thing that I've learned from my mentor, Tom Chanel, is, I asked him one time, what's the key? What's the key to having a successful network marketing business? And he looked at me dead in the eye and he said, love like crazy, then love some more. And I love that because it's true. Every time I see Tom at an event, man, it makes it seem so easy. He's just himself. He's being charismatic. He's showing love and in a humble, serving type of a way. And that's what I want to emulate. I want to emulate people that have what I want, that behave the way I want to behave, that have the respect that I crave to have. So I'm very blessed. I want to say thank you for the opportunity of being here today. I want to say thank you to Nelly and Jaime Ornelas. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. Carmen Osuna and Norma, thank you so much. Dr. Lewis and Avelia, you guys are phenomenal. I'm actually sitting right here right now at the Spartan Center. We're here picking up some product because, like Fred said, our uplines do have our back. And when we had our restaurant, I had nobody that had my back. I couldn't turn to anybody, pick up the phone to a mentor and say, hey, what can I do in this situation? Hey, my fire insurance ran out. Should I just get it or should I shop around? Well, I shopped around and I paid the price. I lost 10 years of saving up, over $150,000 up in smoke overnight. And you know what? With this business, I've always been a brick and mortar type of a guy. I always believed that in order to be in business, you had to have 4 walls, a ceiling, employees, you got to pay, health insurance, etc. And MLM has taught me a better way. It might not be perfect, but you know what? It's the best out there. And when Trump talks about let's make America great again by bringing in jobs, you know what? I don't agree with him. I don't think that more jobs made America great the first time around. I believe that entrepreneurs like Ford, like the Rockefellers, I believe that entrepreneurs are what made America great the first time around, because one entrepreneur can create millions of jobs. So what we need more is more entrepreneurs, more than workers today. And network marketing provides that platform. for the average working Joe who has a job, which stands for just over broke or journey of the broke, I will never, ever have another job again. And I learned that lesson when I was 14 years old, working for a pizza parlor. And I was working my fingers to the bone. I never get any breaks, got paid, really low salary. Then the guy closes up and I never got paid my last 2 weeks salary. When I didn't get paid my last 2 weeks salary, I said, that's it. There is no security in job. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And I thank God, because now I thank God that my restaurant burned, because I know that the reason why God allowed for the devil to burn my restaurant down was because he wanted me to be changing lives here in the company of greatness, company of our great mentors, and everybody else listening to this call. I really appreciate the opportunity. I really appreciate the time. I'd love to do it over again. If you guys have me back, I'd love it. I can scratch this off my bucket list now, being on the Tom Chenault show, right? That was one of the main things I've always wanted to do. I love Tom's show, and thank you for letting me be a part of it. You guys are all awesome, and I can't wait to hear what's next.
Oh my God, is that funny?